Hey everybody, today Rahdo rambles through a teaching session, which is to say, I figured this month I'd give you a little bit of an inside look as to how I teach Jen probably 5 games a week, 5 or 6.
Probably more.
Probably more. And this is just the latest one we're going to sit down and try to play now, called The Magnificent. Jen knows nothing about this. I just finished reading the rule book, and now I'm going to do my best to make her an expert. Lickety split. And I'm also testing out this Blue Yeti mic to see how well this works for, I don't know, future podcasts or something like that. Or it gets returned. We will see. This is your one chance, Blue Yeti, or Blue Yeti Nano.
Okay.
Jan has no... Let's see that. Okay, honey pie.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
First thing I always do is I read the flavor text because it's important to set the stage so that anything I say afterwards, Jen can actually have a frame of reference. Honey pie. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone outside the box, the Magnificents are in town. Buy your tickets. Set your clocks. This is not your average clown. The tents are raised, the elements transpire, the sawdust is literally on fire. When the moon appears on the sunset's ember, you know but this. This will be a show to remember. I didn't realize till halfway through it was actually a poem.
Yep, you read it a little fast, but that's okay.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, we are running circuses, trying to score lots of points, or actually more to the point, make a lot of money. And we're going to play over 1 month. 4 rounds, and in each round we get to do 4 things, which are these cards here. Now, if we're playing the full version of the game, we'd actually have a bunch and we'd draft for them and take, and all that. But these are just the recommended hands, so we're just going simple right now. These are the master cards. Although basically, they mean these are kind of like our plans as the ringleader, what we're trying to do. And these are effectively worker placement spots, because what we're going to do every round is grab a die and activate an ability. Okay, and once we've done all 4, the week is over. We will do some end-of-week stuff, including scoring one of these, which means it'll then be gone, and we're going to end up getting a new one to replace it. Or actually, does it end up going? I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look at that when I get there, because I don't quite remember. But anyway, those are the basics. Grab a die, trigger a thing, or I should say, grab a die, trigger bonuses, which is to say, when we take the die, if I put it here, I get this bonus. If I put it here, I get this bonus, or this bonus. This one I remember what it is. It's get $1. That one's pretty straightforward. This one is, if I put in orange, if I take an orange die and put it here, that orange will be as if it had +2 on it.
Okay.
And these ones, well, I think this probably means they're all right here. When I take a die at the start of a turn, immediately turn the die to any face value. And over there, +1 on the die that I take this turn regardless of the color. So this is, anything can get +1. This is +2, but only if it's orange. This one, flip it, and this one, make $1. What's on the bottom of these cards is the actual end of round scoring, where you make money based on various metrics. And they're all listed right here. I have not looked at what they are at all. We'll just have to figure that out as we go. Alrighty, so you take a die.
I get a diamond.
You can get a diamond. Although they're not really diamonds. These gem tokens, they kind of represent your carny folk, your tent putter-uppers, and your ticket takers and stuff like that.
Okay.
Silver, or the clear ones, they're wild. They're your best employees. They can do anything. But the other ones are limited to basically their color-specific stuff.
Okay.
So you're going to take a die and get a bonus. And then you are going to do one of 3 things with that die. And I could have sworn there was like a little summary of what all the 3 things are, but I don't see it anywhere now. You're basically going to build. You're basically going to build, which means grabbing these Tetris pieces and doing a little Tetris minigame to actually set up your
carnival.
Your carnival, your circus. Is it a circus or a carnival?
You said circus earlier.
What is the difference between a circus and a carnival?
Well, a circus has animals and shows and things like that.
And a carnival doesn't?
I think a carnival is just rides and people.
But they have big tops too.
And no, I don't know. Carnival, like in New Orleans, you think of Carnival.
Right, so anyway, so you grab one of these, and the thing for all 3 of the actions you can do with that die, the higher the value, the more you get to do, the more powerful the action you're going to take. Because these dies basically represent, these are kind of like loans you're taking. Because at the end of the week, you're going to have to pay back. So hopefully you're going to put on a show, make a lot of money, and have money to pay these back. Because if you can't pay, you will lose points.
Okay.
And actually, I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of the week.
They feed you to the lions? They feed you to the lions?
No, they just get run out of town and you lose some prestige, I imagine.
Okay.
Right, so Basically, like if you just focused only on oranges and you grab this orange 1 and this orange 5 and I don't know, something else, you basically have to pay off every color at the end of the week, and it's the highest one.
Oh,
So this one is terrible. This
Yeah.
is a weak die because I still have to pay 5. Whereas if I got this 4 and this 5, well, then I'm getting some more yellow. I'm getting some more orange love out of it.
And you only had to pay 5 for the 5, right?
Yes, yeah, it's just the top value
Okay.
of whatever color, except for the clear. Again, these are wild cards. You have to pay every one of them. So if you grab both of these, you'll be paying $6 in addition to your highest orange, your highest purple, and/or your highest green.
Wouldn't I be paying 12 in addition to
What did I say?
$6?
Yeah, I should have said 12.
Okay.
I totally should have said that.
I'm
I don't know why I didn't say that. Because my brain.
I'm with you.
Okay, and over here there's a reminder for every dollar you don't make. For every everything you owe that you don't, you lose $1. In the what was that first one? 1, 2, 3. What does that mean? Oh, that was a fixed thing. So what does that mean? I'll have to look. But anyway, at the end of the week, be sure you have enough money to pay back your debts, which was getting those dice to actually do stuff.
Okay.
So the 3 things you can do with a die are you can put it towards building. And there's a little chart here that tells you, hey, if your total die value, which is its number on it, plus additional stuff, you can supplement it. Like, I've got this one, which an orange 5 will suddenly become a 7. You can also use your little people. So this, if you use an orange helper with your orange die, that will raise its value as well.
By what?
By 1.
Oh.
Every additional person. And you can see you can have a maximum number of employees over there.
Okay.
And
No, this says +2.
what's that?
This says diamond into dice +2.
Hey, yeah, it sure does. It's a good thing Jen is actually paying attention. Well done, game. Folks, I make goofs even when I teach Jen how to play. But fortunately, we figure it out before the game is over. Yeah, it sure does say +2. Why did I remember that? Oh, because in a, is this like in a 4+ player game it's 1? Is that what it is? Is that what that little thing means? All right, the total power of your die is equal to, no, not set up. Determine your power. You can discard gems, increase your power by 2. Clear gems are wild, can be used in any color. Yeah. Okay. So you're either gonna, once you figure out your power, which is the bonuses you get from putting people to work and whatever bonuses you get from the actual playing card itself, you then have that much power. So if I had a total of 7, I could make 2 small tents. If I got up to 9 though, I could make a small and a big tent. If I made it up to 12, 2 big tents, and so on. And these all have their big and their small versions. A small green is 4, a big green is 6. Yeah, okay. Covering up. And they're different. They're all different Tetris type shapes.
Okay.
And as you might imagine, when you cover these spaces up, you get those bonuses. Hey, I can make some money, or I can make some points, or I can get some more wild cards, or I can get some posters, or I can get a trainer. And by the way, you started out with 1 trainer and 1 of each of the goods. I started out with 2 trainers and only 1.
Okay.
Just as part of setup. You could have flipped that and had different ones. I just went with that just so we'd have different stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So building, pretty straightforward. You there's a reminder what the sizes are.
Yep.
And and what the bonuses you get. Once you put 1 tile down, you have to expand from that tile. You can't just put them wherever you want. So you have to build outwards. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. Oh, here's a reminder of what all the things are. You can build, you can move, or you can put on a show. Okay. These are the 3 things you're doing. Moving means, depending on the color of the die, you will move on. You'll travel the road on the orange, the purple, or the green rondelle. And the further you travel, the better, because as you're traveling the highways and byways, you're picking up additional. It's not just that, if I land here, I get a purple. As I go along, I get a green and a purple and a green and an orange and a purple and a green. These are tents. If you actually end your movement on one of them, you also take a tent.
Okay.
And when we start with 1 tent, which is where this one person is putting on a show. But if I have another tent, then I can put on a second show,
Gotcha.
and a third show, and a fourth show, and whatnot. Plus, when you cover any of these face up, because you cover any of them, you immediately get whatever benefit it is.
Okay.
All right. So when you're moving, you want to land on one of these things, and you also want to travel as far as possible to get more and more people.
Okay.
You can only have 3 of each type, and oh, that's what it is. Yes, it's if you don't have room and you get 4 or more, then you start getting points for them instead.
Okay.
No, I think that's money. That's the symbol for money, and yeah, that's the symbol for money, the round circle. And the thing that actually looks like a dollar bill, that's a ticket.
Yeah.
Those are points. Yeah. So, the third and most important thing you can do is you can put on a show, a really big show. And again, you've determined what your power is based on the die and whatever people you've included with it. And then you use your little top hat thing, say, oh, I have a power 10 show. That means I could fulfill 2 posters. Right now, I've got the magnificent Suhal, and you've got
the magnificent Alberic.
Right. Now, for him, he or she, to put on a show, you need to have a tent of that shape.
Ah.
And Suhal needs to have a tent of that particular shape.
Okay.
If I had another one of these tent tokens and another poster and whatever, like Larissa here, she needs 2 tents. Kimura needs 3 tents. But of course, they put on better shows that get you more points.
Okay.
Obviously. Right. So, if I made it up here, I could actually try to fulfill 2 of I could put on 2 shows.
Okay.
If I'm down here with only 4 or 6 power, I can only do 1 show. At the beginning of the game, that's all we can do anyway.
Okay.
So, to put on a show, you need to have a poster. The poster's needs need to be fulfilled with the actual tents built. And you also have to have, one of these things filled where the poster is. And then you have to have the appropriate amount of power.
Okay.
And if you do all of that, you will get the reward listed at the bottom. In this case, 2 points and a flamey thing, which I think isn't anything. I think that's just... is a flamey thing something? I don't think so.
Well, these have flamey things, but that one over there has something else.
Yeah. Well, see, Marissa gets you 3 points and $2, 12 points, 6 points, 4 points. I think these are just... I think they're just thematic stuff. The little claw, the little flame, the little vortex.
Oh, okay. I have a purple vortex on.
Yeah. I think that's just indicating what type of show it is. The claw means, she's an animal trainer or something. See, she's got a picture of a horse.
Okay.
Actually, Larissa is the horse.
I didn't look very closely at that. They just looked like little round things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, now, you can put on multiple shows. The first show you put on will use this, which is also the turn order marker.
Okay.
So I'm the first player. If you want to put on another show, you have another one. So you could say, oh, well, phew. Now, if you want to put on a show, you have to get to at least power 8.
Okay.
And let's say you do put on a show and it's power 12. Oh my goodness. Well, which meant you probably had 3 performers.
Yep.
Or you way overpaid. So you'll you'll make your income points, whatever it is. At the end of the round, if in this case where I had used 2 of them, one of them comes back. My most spectacular show is what's remembered. And this is determining turn order. Because you had a much better show than me, I'll get the leg up. I get out of town first, and so I get first. I'm the first player in the next round after we reroll all the dice.
Okay.
All right. Another thing.
So our top hats don't stay where they are at the end of the week.
No,
they slide down.
If we've used multiples, we get one back because this is like an extra show, and the other ones slide back down, and whoever's at the bottom is the first player for the next round.
Okay.
Because they slunk out of town because they had a terrible show. The other thing, at the end of the round, like I was saying, we are going to score one of these, like 6 points for this looks like having like lots of completely vertical lines. This one looks like a point for however high my top hat was up. They're all listed right here, so I don't know what they all are. But anyway, we'll score one of them, and we will also end up getting a new one to add, plus a new one of these special powers. Oh, do we start with one? No. All right, because before we start, we're each in turn order. You're going to get one of these, and then I'm going to get one, and then the other one is out.
Okay.
Those are bonuses we have. Because we have these regular employees that can basically just supplement the dice. Also, regular employees can be used to fill in spaces on your board if you want.
Okay, so this one would give me an extra wildcard employee. This one would give me 2 extra on any building, and this is 2 extra on any show. So that would mean whatever my dice total was, it +2, and it might bump me up.
That's correct.
That's
so
great.
specifically, all of those are activated by your trainers. I start with 2, you only start with 1.
Okay.
And basically that's saying is, hey, when I'm building and I have that power, if I want to, I can spend a trainer and get an additional +2. And then I'll get the trainer back for the next week because you can only use them once per week. And as you can see, we can get more trainers as well.
Right. Do we lose our employees?
That's a good question. Let's see. I think we do burn through them. I'll have to double check on that. That's a good question. I don't remember seeing that read anywhere. So my gut is that they're gone. Right. I'll have to double check that. But I'm not going to make them wait for that.
Okay.
Alrighty. So at the end of the round, once we've done our 4 actions, yes.
It looks like maybe you go through employees right here. Step number 2.
Yes, it looks like. And then step number 3, yeah. Let's double check that. That is at the end of a show. So step 2 of the show is complete as many posters as shown. The poster must have a tent directly below it. Each poster, has to have the matching camp tiles. Discard the gems shown on the poster. Oh, our starter ones don't have any. I don't see any of these posters that require additional gems. So apparently some of them will.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, there you go. The great draws. In addition to having these, you also have to burn through some people.
Apparently.
They get worked so hard, they quit.
Or fed to the lions.
Or the armadillo in this case.
Okay.
The neon armadillo. Okay. Right. And, yeah. So that's putting on a show, which is the biggest thing. Okay. At the end of the round, once we've done all our 4 actions, we'll pick one of these, we'll score it, and then that'll be it. That one will be scored. We're going to get a new one to replace the old one. At the end of the game, you're still going to have 3 that you didn't score, because at the end of the 4th week, hey, I'll score one more, and then these are the 3 I have left over. You'll score these other ones, but at only half their value. So you'll score everything, but your really big stuff, obviously, you want to do sooner. And your weak stuff you do at the end of the game. But hopefully they're all fantastic. It would appear they have maximum scores. I didn't notice that before. And I think that's the main stuff. So I'm probably missing a few things here and there, but obviously here's a list of what all the trainers are.
Well,
but like I said, oh yeah. In addition, we can each have our own private trainers, and these are public. So you can also use these as well. These ones this one has to do with moving. This one has to do with building. This one has to do with putting on a show. And sometimes they'll say you just need to put one person out. Sometimes they need to say 2, or sometimes they say you can put out 1 or more. For the more you do, the more you get to do that action.
Okay.
So those are available, plus our own private ones are available to spend our trainers. I know we do get our trainers back at the end of the week. They're clear about that. I suspect we don't get our individual employees, but I'll have to double check that.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. Can you think of any questions? Obviously, we'll have to figure out what all our special powers are. But I won't make you folks watch that.
So I need to choose one of these things.
You need to choose one, then I choose one, and then the other one is just, I think, it's shuffled back in there. Or it's out of the game, one or the other.
So this one is a +2 to a die, and this is +1
when you're
to
only
a die.
when you're building.
Yeah, and this is +1 to anything.
Yeah, and it looks like that's not tied to an action, so presumably you can do that anywhere. It's a general. Regardless of whatever action you choose, if you spend a trainer, you will get 1 clear gem. Which is, again, a wild card gem.
Okay, so if I come here, I would get a gem.
Well, no, I mean, what this is saying is your main action is always going to be, make an investment, take a loan, whatever you call it, do an action. While you're doing that action, you have the opportunity to deploy trainers on your private ones or these public ones to get additional bonuses. Although some of them, like, you can only deploy to that one if you're building that turn. It won't give you +2 if you're moving.
Okay, so this symbol is just any...
That's just saying whatever you do with your die, whatever your main action for that day is, you can spend a trainer, and your trainer goes out into the woods and finds some really clever employee who can do anything.
Okay, very good. I think I'm going to go with the general.
All right, and I'll go with the builder. And then the other one, I'll have to double check where it goes. So we have that power in addition to the main ones. And I believe you can only do them... Oh, yes, you're right. They go here. I believe you can only activate any one of these once. Once the thing's on there, you can't go again. So these are first come, first serve, obviously. The public ones. We haven't actually put on shows yet. Let me double check that about trainers. Trainer abilities. On your turn, you can use any number of trainers or trainer spaces At the end of your turn, move all trainers used to the main tent. In the table below, you'll find an overview of what they do. Right. Yeah. So at the round end, the specific things, you have to pay, the value of your top dice in each color and the total value of all your clear dice, the wilds, if you take them. Then you get a new combo. You're going to be able, like this, you need 2 trainers to double the amount of buildings you build. And you'll have this, which is a new bonus and a new scoring opportunity. You'll take this pair, this pair, this pair. Oh, I forgot to mention. In the example I did before where I did like a really crappy one and you did say you did just one better than me. Well, whoever's here whoever did the best show gets first dibs on these choices. Okay? And because we're playing a 2-player game, if you did really good, if you actually beat me, you can imagine this is another player. This is kind of tightening it up. If you did this, you're the first to pick, and then I'm the second to pick one of these pairs. If you did that much better than me, you're the first to pick one, and you eliminate one of the pairs.
Oh, okay.
Which means I did so poorly, I just get whatever's left to kind of emulate a higher player count.
Okay.
Because they go fast. And of course, there'd be more and more with more players. So that's important too. So at the end of the round, we get our new pair to add to the old ones. Oh, I should say, we get this new pair before we score.
Oh.
So you could score the new pair you got immediately if you want.
Okay.
And then we score and discard a MasterCard, prepare for the next round, which means we get all of our trainers back. We refill the display, we reset the hats, and we re-roll the dice. And then at the end of the game, we score all the cards we didn't do, but only for half price. Money is 5-1 left over. And, also, we have areas in our camps. If you completely fill up an area, that is 4 points.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and that's it. At the end of the game, you could use your leftover people to help you fill in those final areas to get those bonus points. You can't fill in areas as you go. Right. And that's it. So, are you ready to go? Can you think of anything else?
No, I think that's probably enough.
Right, okay, so we've got our stuff. I know I need to build an orange. You know you need to build one of those. Right. So, folks, we're going to play now. And I'm going to stop filming right now and check out what this sounds like. Hopefully, every time I did this, it didn't pick up. I wouldn't be surprised if it does. It seems like it's a very sensitive microphone. I'm not used to that. But thanks very much for watching. Thanks for supporting the show. In closing, my main things I do that seem to work well when I teach Gen is I try to couch everything in thematic terms. The best example of that is the rules repeatedly refer to these employees, I call them, as gems. They say collect gems. Go travel and get gems. And it's like, well, am I using gems? Are they some sort of payment that I'm using for other things? What does that mean? No, because thematically they're not gems. Physically they're gems, but thematically they're workers. So I often have to do this when I'm teaching games to Gen. I interpret the crappy rule writer speak where they don't understand how important theme is and put them in thematic terms so that because I don't talk about the dice just as dice, but what do they actually represent? Because if you have to pay them off at the end of the round, that means they're basically a loan. And so that helps thematically anchor everything as you go because everything just makes sense in real world terms. That's how you can have a quick teach and make sure almost everything works pretty well. And it mostly sticks if you couch them in real world terms instead of just using we've got our gems, we've got our dice, we've got our MasterCards. That's why I don't call these MasterCards. These are your plans. As the ringleader, my plan is to try and do this. And hey, along the way, I know a way to get a bonus. Because these represent you as the. And it drives me nuts. Always try to couch your teaching opportunities in thematic terms, even when the developers of the game couldn't be bothered to do it. And you will find players have a much easier time absorbing, and you will have to repeat yourself a lot fewer times. The other big thing that I always mention as a hint is you will notice several times Jen had a question. I did not say, we'll come back to that.
Right.
Hold on a second. If Jen asks that question, she needs to know the answer right now. If I do not answer that question immediately, what will happen is she will stop hearing anything else I say. She'll try to pay attention, but in the back of her mind, it's human nature. Like, yeah, but what about this? I still don't know this, and now I'm getting... so it's so important. I see this so often where somebody asks a question and say, I'll get back to that in a minute. It's like 10 minutes later, and okay, the last 10 minutes, I didn't hear anything you said because I couldn't, I had that stumbling block. At the very least, sometimes I will say, you know what, honey, that is literally the very next thing I'm going to talk about. Chances are it wasn't, but I'll just finish what I'm doing, and then I will completely shift. Instead of talking about this thing, I will then talk about her thing as fast as I can. That is hugely important as well. Now, of course, that's going to be tougher with more players, but that's why you just have to be that much more responsive to the needs of the people at the table, because everybody will ask questions. If you can answer it right there, you're going to help them. Although you might derail everybody else a little bit. That's kind of tricky, which is why maybe it's like, you know what, Bob, that is literally the next thing I'm going to talk about. So just put a pin in it for just a second. If you put a pin in it for 5 minutes, I guarantee you're going to spend half the game reminding Bob how everything works, because you did not give them the information they needed it when they needed it. Can you think of anything else, Honey Pie, that makes for, since you never teach games?
I never teach games.
You've taught one game once. In an apartment in Athens, Greece, you taught some strangers how to play Glory to Rome, of all things, which shocked me. Do you remember anything about that? I remember looking at, oh my God, is she doing it? And you did it.
Yeah. Well, I was in a very gamey mode at the moment.
Yes, you were.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you've really summed it up well. It's really nice to have something you can hang your hat on. This is an employee, and that,
Yeah, as opposed to a gym.
Gym.
It's just dumb. You have to do the work of the developers, because they never do. 99% of rule books, I have to assume, I don't understand why. These are such simple human learning things.
It's because they're so close they cannot see the trees.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it is cool that they're gems, but these aren't gems. They have no monetary value. They are people who will do work by supplementing other things. And so that's really important. And answer questions as they go, even if it gets annoying. Don't let them know it gets annoying. Answer it immediately if you can. Otherwise, make sure it is the very next thing you talk about. Don't put it off for 10 minutes. Those are my 2 secrets. I can't think of anything else.
Nope.
Oh, wait. One more secret I forgot to mention that came up while Jen and I actually went ahead and played the game, which she destroyed me at, by the way. I forget now. It was a few hours, like 170 to 140 or something like that. Anyway, my other secret is don't sweat the rules too terribly much. I think it's very important not to interrupt the flow. If you've got a good rhythm going and you're getting ideas across and you can feel they're sinking in, if you're not 100% certain about something, it's very, very easy to say, oh, wait, let me go check this one little thing, and then spend a minute looking for that one. I got to make sure I got to get this exactly right, and by the time you get back right, now where was I? The entire lesson is lost. Better to, leave little bits like that out if you're not 100% certain, or even go with your less than ideal memory, because those are things you can course correct during the play session itself. And I can say that because it's been a few hours now, but I remember there were a couple of things wrong. I taught Jen, and therefore you, wrong about the Magnificent. One, it's 3 rounds instead of 4, or 3 months or years or seasons or whatever you want to call it. So the game was actually a bit shorter. It wasn't until halfway through I realized, oh wait, it's not 4, it's 3. But that's okay, we were able to adjust. And again, it's better just to keep the pattern going. Keep the teaching exercise flowing. Don't interrupt by going back and double and triple and quadruple checking the rules to make sure you get every little thing right. There are a couple of other things like when you send your trainers out to a space at the end of your turn, they are supposed to go to a central repository so that actions can be done over and over again. I wasn't 100% certain about that when I was telling Jen, but I didn't want to slow it down. And I ultimately, as I often do, if you ever play a game with me that I've just learned, you will find for the first half of the game, when it is not my active turn, when it's everybody else's turn, I am just poring over the rule book, double, triple checking everything to make sure I've got it all right. Maybe that's why I lose so badly, because Jen can just focus on everything, whereas I'm paying more attention to making sure, I'm making an excuse for myself. Jen just destroys me. But anyway, that is my 3rd secret. Don't interrupt the flow. Don't sweat the small rules. Just let them go. And because you can course correct during play. That's a really important thing too. Right, and now back to me from a few hours ago. All right then. That's it, folks. Thanks once again for watching. Now I will go listen to you, Yeti. I'm sure you heard that. Thanks, folks. See you again in a month. Have a nice day. Talk to you later. So long.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.